snaps it anyway. Greer lobs it in the air. Oh, what a catch, Gary Jennings! Touchdown, West Virginia! Is his foot down? Absolutely.
Welcome to the West Coast WVU podcast, brought to you by the 224 Podcast Network. My name is James Brooks. I'm your host. Thanks for joining me on today's episode. It's been a couple weeks since my last episode. I missed the review of the TCU game. So there was TCU, and then we went up against Houston at Houston. So to go back, we hosted TCU in Morgantown, and we had the Coal Rush game. Going into it, I think I predicted that we would lose that game, which we did end up losing the game, but we lost that game a lot closer than I think most people thought. We were like 16 and a half point underdog, something like that. We ended up losing the game. I think, what was it, like 20-16, or I think it was a one-score game, and there was a chance where West Virginia was on defense. We had just scored. West Virginia was on defense and almost forced a fumble recovery, but couldn't quite recover the ball, and it didn't end up winning 23-17. Sorry, we lost by 6 points. I think I had just those 6 points off, but yeah, so lost 23-17 to TCU. Overall, I think that was one of those losses where the loss kind of feels like a win, and I think I said the same thing for the BYU game, where we kind of got blown out by BYU, but got blown out by them less than we did to other teams. We put up 24 points. The offense at least was putting points on the board, even though we gave up 38 to BYU, as opposed to, when we went up against UCF, 45-13, only put up 13 points. Against TCU, only put up 17 points, but we held them to 23. And I think during that game, something that I was thinking that I kind of want to make a point of was that when you're holding a team to 23 points, chances are you should be able to be in the game if your offense is decent. If you have a decent offense and you can put points on the board, even if it's not at a super high level, I think holding a team to 23 points is pretty good defensively, where you should at least be in the game. And they were. I mean, you'd hope to score more than 20 points in a game if you want to win, and we only scored 17 and we lost to TCU. So, but TCU was a good team coming into it. They were 6-2, I think. ESPN's weird like this. I don't know if they were 6-2 before the game or after the game, after they beat us, but 6-2. And yeah, I mean, not a whole lot to say. I mean, I think the one of the bright points of the game was the fan turnout. It was really cool to see from afar. Obviously, I wasn't at the game or anything like that, but seeing pictures and videos of the stands pretty packed for the most part. I think there was a point in the game where some of the student section left and things like that, but people showed up for the Coal Rush game, which was fun to see. And as much as I'm not the biggest fan of black uniforms, and I think there's like an element to it that can be kind of gimmicky, I do think that the fans do care about it, and people from West Virginia do like to celebrate the coal industry and things like that. So that's pretty cool. And cool to see before the game the honoring of some having like coal workers out there and for the man trip and all that kind of stuff. So overall, disappointing to lose the game, but nice to see that we were able to at least be in the game and actually had a kind of a chance to maybe win it had they been able to grab a turnover or something like that on that last drive for TCU, but weren't quite able to do it and took the loss there. So then after that, we took a trip to Houston to play against 22 ranked Houston Cougars, I think their mascot is, and we came out and won that game, like 45-35. Overall, just looked impressive from an offensive standpoint. Put up 14 points in both the first quarter and the fourth quarter, 10 points in the third quarter, and 7 in the second quarter. And outside of the second quarter, we held Houston to only a touchdown per quarter. So, defensively, you don't really want to give up 35 points or 30 plus points. I think anything over, that 23, 24 point mark, it's kind of tough to win those games. I think. I don't really know the stats on that. I that's just more of like a feeling type thing, but we were able to get the win. He put up 45 points, and I forgot to mention that Scotty Fox he's been getting the starts. I think I don't remember if he got the start against UCF, but he came in for UCF against UCF. I think after Khalil Wilkins maybe got hurt or something like that. Anyways, either way, Scotty Fox he's been the starter the last couple games and put up a formidable push against TCU, and then came out against a ranked opponent in Houston and got a win. Which, I mean, it's crazy to think this. I think the West Virginia. I was trying to remember when the last time we beat a ranked team was, and I think the last time that we beat a ranked team when they were a ranked team, Houston was ranked 22 when we played them. I think the last time we beat a team that was ranked at the time that we played them was in 2018, which would have been, I want to say, that was the year, like the Will Greer year when they beat Texas and all that stuff. That season. So, I'm pretty sure Neil Brown never won a game against a ranked opponent. He might have won a game against an opponent that eventually became ranked down later in the season, which you can argue whether or not that counts. I mean, I think it counts for something. I think because right now, for instance, Pitt this week is ranked number 24, and we beat them obviously in what was that, week 3? Beat them in week 3, and I think West Virginia fans are kind of flexing the fact that we've now our two of our wins outside of Robert Morris are against ranked teams. So, and you can kind of pick and choose how you like that stat, whether you beating a ranked team counts just in general that season, whether they were ranked or not, or become ranked or whatever. But I do think at the very least, Houston at the time I think they had one loss and were ranked number 22 in the nation, and we came out and won that game. And the thing that's kind of crazy is Neil Brown beat Pitt in 2023 in that game. Kind of a weird game. Nico was the quarterback. He came in as a starter because Derek Green was hurt. I don't even remember the name of Pitt's quarterback, but he was awful. But Neil Brown never beat a team that was ranked when we played them. And in the first year of Rich Rod, you get a win against Pitt, a very obviously a very insane win against Pitt, one of the cooler live sporting events that I've ever been to. And then he gets a win against a ranked opponent, which Neil Brown never did. And so while we may be having somewhat of a disappointing season from a record standpoint, I think the two of our 3 wins, one against Pitt in the way that we did it, and then also beating a ranked opponent in Houston, they're pretty solid wins. I mean, at this point, we're kind of, I think, you kind of got to take what you can get. We've had so many crazy injuries, which I think a lot of fans, it can be easy to kind of forget that we don't have Jaheim White. Nico Marchiol, who was our quarterback coming into the season, for all intents and purposes, definitely after the Pitt game, he was kind of like the starter. He gets hurt. So you have your starting quarterback, your starting running back both hurt. Jaden Bray, a starting receiver, he's hurt. So, I mean, overall, and that's just on the offensive side. I don't even really know where we're at defensively, what injuries are there or not. But overall, just a tough season between injuries, between having a brand new team, a brand new coach, all that kind of stuff. And you're able to get a win against your biggest rival in dramatic fashion in overtime. And then you're able to get a win against a ranked opponent in the Big 12 in Houston. And, it's something. It's not perfect. It's not like the perfect season by any means, but I will take, I was kind of thinking like the year that, was it 2023, I think, when West Virginia went and beat North Carolina in the Duke's Mayo Bowl, where they went, I think, 8-3, or I forget what the exact record was going at the end of the season, but they ended up with 8 wins, I think, or 8 or 9 wins if you count the bowl game. And it was, it felt good. It was nice. It was nice to win, nice to get into a bowl game, nice to win a bowl game. It felt nice overall. But throughout the whole season, there was just the criticism of our schedule. The schedule was terrible. We had a really weak schedule. weak games, all that stuff. And the argument for that is, you just got to win the games that are in front of you. You can't really control the teams that you're playing, how good they are, who's hurt or who's not hurt, all that kind of stuff. You just got to play the team that's in front of you and do your best and try and win those games. So I don't want to take away from that season at all, because we did what we had to do. We won some games. We made a bowl game. We won that bowl game. Overall, productive season. But in some ways, like, you could almost argue that this season, with the injuries and all that stuff, that beating Pitt, especially we beating them at home in overtime, all that stuff, when we were underdogs because we had just lost Ohio going into that game, beating Pitt and then beating a ranked team. It doesn't really matter who it is. In this case, it's Houston, obviously, but like, it could be anybody. But ranked in the top 25, obviously they're in the latter part of that, and I think they were number 22. So, but still a ranked team. You beat a ranked team. I almost feel just as good with this season, how I feel right now with these wins, as I did in that season where we, in 2023 when we made the bowl game and stuff. And maybe it's just like maybe it's that's me coping and trying to like feel better about this season. But overall, like, honestly, like, getting a ranked win, and it's crazy to think that it's been 7 seasons since our last ranked win against a top 25 opponent. Like, that's just some sad stuff. So nice to get something like that. And overall, I don't know. Like, I feel content with this season at this point. Like, beating, I think, honestly, like, having just beaten Pitt would make me feel fine. Especially, like, I mean, Pitt, I know they've like changed their quarterback. Speaking of coping, if you go on X and you look up some Pitt fan accounts and stuff, they're they're literally thanking West Virginia for beating them, because I think they benched Holstein, their quarterback, after that loss. I don't know. I honestly don't know all the details at all. That's what I picked up from the context clues. Is they benched Holstein and they found another quarterback who is playing well, and they're winning games, and they're now they're ranked in the top 25. And so, I just think it's hilarious that, like, of course, like, that's like the ultimate cope is you're thanking your rival for beating you, so that you can be better. And, like, I mean, at the end of the day, yeah, if they go on and they somehow get into like the ACC championship game or something, then like that is crazy. And yeah, getting into the ACC championship game with the chance to get into the college football playoff is, arguably more important than beating your rival in a non-conference game. But that said, I think it's just funny, like, the coping of, like, thanking West Virginia for beating them. It's just so funny. But yeah, so I mean, I think overall, like, honestly, I feel pretty content with this season. Again, maybe you can say that I'm coping, you can whatever, but there's 3 games left this season. So just a little quick preview. You have Colorado this weekend on Saturdays, coming to Morgantown. Colorado is 3-6, just like we are. They have been, I mean, they've been struggling so much that we're the favorites in this game. We are 6.5 point favorites. Looking at the spread, looking at the ESPN like analytic matchup predictor, they're giving us a 54.8% chance to win this. So it's still pretty close, but we have the slight edge there. Both teams are 3-6 overall, 1-5 in the conference. Looking at Colorado's schedule, their one win in the conference was against Iowa State, ranked number 22. So honestly, it's like kind of crazy. Pretty mirrored schedule so far, or just mirrored season so far, in that we also beat our one conference win is against Houston, the conference team that was ranked 22 at the time. Going down their list, they lost to Houston 36-20 earlier in the season. They lost to BYU only by 3, 24-21. They lost to TCU by 14. They got blown out by Utah 53-7, which we also got blown out by Utah, but not as bad as that, I don't think. And then they still have to play us, Arizona State, and Kansas State. And then for us, we play Colorado, Arizona State, and then Texas Tech. So if we win out, we're bowl eligible. if we win out, we go 6-6, which is what which is what I predicted this season. So, but that being said, Texas Tech is ranked number 8th overall. They're 8-1. That game does not look like a game that we would win unless like you take the confidence from beating number 22 Houston. You can pull up a nice win against Colorado, get a nice win against Arizona State. Uh, that one at home too? No, that one's at Arizona. In Arizona, and then you host Texas Tech. Hosting Texas Tech helps. Last game of the season, hit and miss, right? If Texas Tech is vying for a college football playoff spot, they're going to be very much taking that game very seriously. And for us, if we say we lose to Arizona State and that game doesn't matter at all, like we wouldn't become bowl eligible even if we won, then maybe there's a chance where players kind of slack and stuff. Although, I mean, a Rich Rod team, Rich Rod wouldn't let his guys do that. So you never know. I don't think I can sit here and predict that we'll go 6-6 and win out, only because of Texas Tech right there. I think that we can definitely beat Colorado. We can definitely beat Colorado. We probably should beat Colorado. We can. I mean, the Arizona State game, the ESPN analytics give them an 86% chance to win. So, but I'm curious. I wish I didn't see what it was for Houston. I wish I would have looked before the game, but that's a pretty favorable towards Arizona State. So that's going to be a tough one for us to win. Can we do it? Probably. I mean, you look at like the guys that we have out there. Scotty Fox, he's been looking pretty good. Obviously, he's a true freshman. He's like 18 years old. So you honestly just can't have that high of expectations for him. But I mean, he looks good. He looks good against Houston. And then you have Dior Hubbard, who is coming in at running back. He's like, what? So we have Jaheim White and Ty Edwards, who are both out for the season. Jaheim White, obviously the number one running back. Ty Edwards had his coming out party against Pitt. So like a lot of people ask, like, what happened to West Virginia after Pitt? Well, Ty Edwards got hurt, which that sucked. I mean, seeing him in person going up against Pitt, like he is a big back. He is a guy that he is hard to bring down. So losing him was tough. But Dior Hubbard's come in and he runs super hard. You still have Cam Vaughn at receiver, who, he's playing in a Rich Rod offense, which is very run heavy. He only has 28 receptions for 444 yards and 4 touchdowns. But I mean, that's averaging almost 16 yards a catch. So, you still have you still have so many offensive weapons, and then defensively, I think, like overall the defense had a ton of takeaways against Houston. A lot. I mean, Houston's quarterback was having a lot of trouble holding onto the football. A lot of like fumbles where he's just like trying to throw the ball and it slips out of his hand. A couple of interceptions, all that kind of stuff. So maybe that was partially just like bad quarterback play on Houston's part, but props to our defense for stepping up and getting stops and all that kind of stuff. So it'll be an interesting way to close out the season. I think like after UCF, I think a lot of us, myself included, felt pretty down on the team. Pretty much like, okay, we beat Pitt, we've done it just isn't our season. And then we play TCU, we lose, we don't look that great offensively, but we string some stuff together and make it a close game. Lose by only 6 points, and then you gives a little hope. And then you go up against Houston, get a big win, put up 45 points on them. Beat them by 10 points. Honestly, like Houston kind of kept it close. They stayed in arm's distance where it was kind of like, okay, if West Virginia doesn't pay attention, like Houston could make a run and win this game. But for the most part, West Virginia had a solid like 2-score lead for the majority of the game, it felt like. So a pretty decisive win on West Virginia's part there. And then you win that game and you're like, okay, I'm locked back in. Like could we win out, Colorado 100% can win. Arizona State, if we can beat Houston, we can beat Arizona State. Doesn't mean it's going to be easy. And then Texas Tech, that's the big thing where it's like, the thing that's crazy though is you look at it, like Texas Tech is ranked number 8th. What's the Big 12 standings? I think, yeah, okay. So Texas Tech is number 8. BYU is number 7, ranked in the nation, and they're number 1. And BYU is number 1. Texas Tech number 2. So they are in the running for the Big 12 championship. So, people will say like it has the makings of a trap game. Texas Tech coming to Houston or coming to Morgantown. last game of the season. Who knows? Texas, and also it depends too. Like with Texas Tech, there's no guarantee that. Oh, yeah, they play BYU this weekend, so they lose to BYU. They still have to play TCU, and they still have to play Cincinnati. That's true. Oh, they still have 4. Wait. Oh, sorry. I'm looking at BYU schedule. Whoops. Texas Tech. I was gonna say. Okay, they play BYU, UCF, and us. Okay, never mind. That's less exciting. I was gonna say like because if Texas Tech, because at this point like I don't care about Texas Tech. I just like if Texas Tech loses games to the point where they don't care, they're not like eligible for the playoff or the Big 12 championship, then maybe they take that last game off. We can kind of sneak one in there, win 3 games, become bowl eligible, and then like at that point you're like, okay, like that actually makes the season even more impressive. Less of a bummer of a season, more of an impressive season if you could win out and make a bowl game with all the injuries and everything that we've been talking about all season. So definitely some stuff to pay attention to. Basketball season's coming up. The basketball team got a big win against, I don't even know, just like one of those easy non-conference games. And I think myself and a lot of people I'm sure are kind of like thinking like, okay, maybe we'll just start paying attention to basketball a little bit, and football, obviously still paying attention to football, but not giving it as much attention or hope or whatever. But at this point in the season, with where we're at, Colorado, Arizona State, Texas Tech, we definitely can beat Arizona State and Colorado. We could get we could get 5 wins, and that would be, I mean, if you asked me after UCF and you said like, if you guys got 5 wins this season, would you feel pretty good? I'd be like, hell yeah. Like I'm not going to be like celebrating or anything, but I definitely feel good about it. So we'll see what happens. I think, yeah, if we could somehow make a bowl game, that'd be crazy. The Texas Tech game sucks. I wish if it was anybody else, but who knows? Maybe things will pan out our way where Texas Tech doesn't come out and try too hard or something like that. Or, maybe, I mean, beating a team like Houston's a good squad. Like maybe that gives our team confidence. We can come out and make it a game. Between TCU, a good team, Houston, a good team. We made one of those games a game. TCU sweating there. We beat Houston pretty decisively. We're kind of trending up at the right time where like if we wanted to win out and get to 6 wins, it's definitely plausible. Anything's possible, obviously, even if the chances are small, but it's definitely like you could make an argument where maybe TCU or Texas Tech loses to BYU. I'm curious actually like how that would pan, like if that would actually mess with anything. I don't know that it would, because BYU is already number 1. Texas Tech, so Cincinnati's number 3. Cincinnati plays Arizona, BYU, and TCU. It's going to be close. I don't know. I'm trying to do the math in my head, but let's say BYU beats both Texas Tech and Cincinnati, then they're kind of both in the same position still, because because Texas Tech and Cincinnati are both. Oh wait, they're in the conference. They're both 5-1 in the conference. So let's say they both lose to BYU, but then like Cincinnati, I don't know. We have a chance to ruin a season with Texas Tech, which that's always kind of fun as a team that has like seemingly like nothing to play for. It's always fun to have those games where you can potentially ruin someone's season, or at least their playoff chances. So we'll see what happens. I'm locked back in. I'm excited. We're back in it. West Virginia plays Colorado in Morgantown at noon, a noon kickoff on Saturday. You got prime time coming to Morgantown. Hopefully we can get another big crowd in the stadium and get another win. Thank you all for listening. Go Mountaineers. Hey, you made it to the end. Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed the podcast, go ahead and leave a 5-star rating and share it with your friends. And as always, go Mountaineers.